Hi, guys. Oh, my God, it's Ugly Bob. What the hell are you doing here?
Hello video game fans, this is it. It's intended to be my greatest review. Let's see how it goes. This is going to be part 11, 26. We're going to be, even though it's part 11, meaning it's going to focus on the 11th game, even though this is going to be over 4 parts. The masterpiece, Symphony of the Night. I guess we can start with what brought this game up. It was really a surprise when it came out in 1997. The advertising suggested that it would be, it was a Castlevania game. I didn't really read magazines back then, the video game magazines, any of them. It was kind of a lull. Final Fantasy VII wasn't out, and I wasn't too interested in the PlayStation brand. It really didn't have anything except crappy-looking 3D games then that look even worse now. I didn't care. I played my Super Nintendo. That's it. So I guess I really didn't know about this game until we had finally gotten a PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII in September of 1997, and we found out about this game after the fact. And popping in, I'm like, okay, Castlevania. Game looks a little different, starting off as a Belmont. Of course, I didn't recognize him, not having played Castlevania Dracula X or any of the earlier ones. And the one thing I did notice the most was it goes Castlevania Bloodlines. I'm like, oh, is this how Castlevania Bloodlines ended on the Genesis? I couldn't quite remember because it's been a long time since I played that. And I'm like, okay, this is all good. And like, you're moving along, you fight Dracula, and like an awesome opening cinematic moment. And it really, right there, the game was already having a profound effect on me, and I'm sure most gamers. The thing that, of course, people remember more fondly than they should is the horrible voice acting, the "what is a man, miserable little pile of secrets." The lines are good, but sure, the way they said aren't. And the damn camera keeps cutting me off. Let's see, where was I? Richter Belmont, he's got some good lines too. He even snag a little jab at modern religion. I'm like, it's damn sweet, despite how horrible it sounds. And like, one thing I also noticed is this Richter Belmont, he's the same damn guy who did the voice of Christopher Belmont of Chris Redfield in the original Resident Evil, and boy did that voice suck. They didn't even list the actor's full name in the credits. Makes me wonder if they listed it in this game. I should check that out. You moving on, you got your properly epic battle against Dracula, what? This cannot be! No! That's just freaking awesome. And gets to the narration, and thinking like, okay, was this just a setup? And it proceeds to go like, Richter Belmont character, defeated Dracula, who was resurrected by the Dark Priest Shaft, and of course this means nothing to me, because not playing any of the game. And it's going on, and like, meanwhile, 4 years later, Richter mysteriously disappeared into the light of a full moon. I'm like, okay, sounds like something's coming up, and then it goes, one of the coolest things in gaming history that I'd ever seen. Again, it was compounded by not knowing much about this game before playing it. It goes, meanwhile, powerful soul forces were struggling for the soul of a man named Alucard. And I'm like, holy shit, you get to play as Alucard in this game, or Alucard's in this game? Like, I remember him from Castlevania 3. Badass. And because he submitted his vampiric powers and entered into what was supposed to be an eternal slumber, then it goes like, but he is now very much awake and aware of evil, like, rising in his homeland, and like, oh boy, he's gonna come and kick some ass, and it pretty much says like eternal battle. The next thing you know, that You see him running along with his super vampire speed, jump the bridge, and you find yourself up against a huge wolf, and you're like, oh my god, is this like a boss right away? And you take one slash, he's dead. Like, yep, Alucard's back, baby. And not only does that answer how badass he is, and you might be wondering, like, okay, what kind of weapons is he going to use? Is he going to, like, turn into a bat and fire fireballs, or is he going to use his fire crystals again? Nope. Turns out it's going to be an RPG. You're moving along, and you fight your zombies and your familiar mermen, fishmen, and you're like, yep, this is a Castlevania game, alright. And then you see something you might not have been expecting. Little wavy line goes, level up, and then I go again, holy shit, this game is an RPG, and that confirms it. You got leveling structure, you got everything. Like, can this get any better? And you see your little bar, you see you got 2 bars right there next to your life, and you see it's going up slightly, and you got your weapons, everything's cool. You move along, you meet Death, who just sounds totally badass also, and he looks really cool. He steals all your weapons, and like, it's a new challenge, you gotta start all over, but it just makes you feel more determined. You're going along, you keep moving, you eventually get to a boss, and you discover the little white meter that was inexplicably makes you glow every time you get a level up, and you're like, what's this stuff do? It turns out to be MP, and you can use it to cast spells. I'm like, again, holy shit, you can cast spells too? Can this game get any better? It's just crazy. And it turns out, yes, it can. Indeed, it can. Just releasing my inner Castlevania Symphony fanboy there, but remember, as the title goes, it's Ugly Bob's unduly unctuous video games, and that was certainly a pretty unctuous review. Look it up. Anyway, let's get a little bit more serious here. Don't want to sound completely biased, even though I am. When it comes to graphics, this game, it has to be mentioned, yes, this was the one that started the cycle of ripping sprites from other games with little to no redesign, but again, not being familiar with Rondo of Blood, it was totally okay when this happened. Everything looked really expressive. You had everything was well designed, the environments were cool. Just look at the clock tower, or even the Bloodline stage, incorrectly translated at the beginning. You see the clouds moving, the textures are awesome, it's just amazing. And one thing you can't criticize is the enormous bosses. Just think of Galamoth, or Legion, or as he's oddly known in this game, Granthel Loon, an odd choice. But the point is, they're not only screen filling, but just being in their presence as you're fighting them, it really feels like it's almost like a multi-stage battle. In the case of Granthel Loon, it is. You gotta like hack him to pieces until you get to his core. And Galamoth, you need a whole other set of preparations if you hope to beat him. He's harder than the end boss, unless of course you have certain items. It's really graphically impressive.